Hi guys, Gilly Hunt here, coming to you with a pretty little card inspired by my lovely friend Lynney. So let me show you. This is the lady that I'm talking about, lovely Lynney, who is one of my great crafting friends. She created this lovely card for us. I made it, but she created it and designed it, and needs to take great credit for that because it's a lovely card. She had gave it to us as a team project to try as a kind of winter lovely pyjama for Christmas, and isn't it lovely, just with that turn down collar and the buttons which are all stitched with linen going through them. So I thought I'd do a little version of this in celebration of Lynney. So do look her up on the internet. I know she puts out Facebook videos live at the moment, so go look for her. Okay, let's see what we need. So the first thing we're going to need is the Buffalo Check stamp set, which comes with this huge stamp. In fact, if you look at it compared to my hands are quite small, although they're wrinkly and old looking. They are quite small, but this stamp set therefore just fits on our very largest stamping block. And I'm quite happy for you to buy that block because it's wonderful to use for all kinds of lovely watercolour techniques. But I have to say, if you don't want the expense of that, you can get away with using this as long as you've got a nice flat table or somewhere very flat to put it on. Preferably maybe a piece of glass mat. Because what I'm going to show you is that actually we will be bringing things to the stamp rather than the stamp to the things. But you'll see that as we're going along. And also you're going to need a 1/2-inch circle stamp. Punch, sorry, not a stamp. I don't know where that came from. And I want to just show you where these are in the catalogue because they can be a little bit confusing. Here's the 1/2-inch little punch, and it makes just tiny little circles which are fabulous. But they come on this page of the catalogue, which is page 187 in the current catalogue, and they are concentric circles just to show you the different sizes that are available. But sometimes it gets a bit confusing and people think it's just one big huge concentric punch. So here it says 1/2-inch circle, and that's what you would be wanting to get if that's what you wanted to use it for. Okay, so that's what we're going to use, and we're going to have a go at making my version of Lynney's lovely card. And I was thinking about all those children that we're thinking about going back to school, hopefully in the not too distant future, and I thought how lovely this stamp set is for making almost like a little summer school uniform, because a lot of the primary schools where I live certainly have little gingham uniforms, so it's really pretty for that. And I've prettied it up so it makes for a little girl's shirt compared to the pyjamas, which are probably more a man's pyjamas, but you know, who cares? I don't mind which it is, it's just whichever size you want and whichever colours you want. So we're making one of these, and I'm going to make it in pink just to make a little change up. So you will need a note card. This is the normal note cards from Stampin' Up, available at gillyhunt.com, as are all the things that we're going to use today. And I encourage you to shop with me, of course I do, because I would love for you to do that, because that helps me make enough money to carry on being a demonstrator and to produce these lovely videos. So the first thing is, this is your card, and you want to do this from the centre, so from the inside of the card, so whichever way it is going to be in the middle. It's going to have to be on the front, so here's the front of the card and the way it opens, so you need to be on this corner here. Okay, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to cut across that corner. So what I'm doing is making sure that the cutting blade is well out of the way, so that's this dart blade. Let's push it right off the stage, and we want the scoring blade because we just want to score this. And we're not going to the corner. Notice that we're going to a little place about 1 centimetre, maybe 1/2 inch in, and maybe 1 inch down. Okay, and we're going to scoot across with the scoring blade. And the reason we've gone from the inside is because we now are going to push this over and out, and that will become the collar on the front. Okay, so now we've got that, I'm just going to bring in my, here it is, I couldn't find it for a moment. I'm just going to bring my bone folder and I'm going to give it a good fold because it does tend to like to spring open. Okay, so there it is. We're also going to need a piece of card, and I'm going to show you my little scrap with all the scribbles on it, because you can always freeze frame your videos at this point and take the measurements. So we need it to be 2 inches across, it's whisper white card, and 2 3/4 inches in this direction. So 2 3/4 by 2, and we want to measure and find the middle point, which is 1 inch in, and 1/2 inch up at each side, and we want to score those corners. And we also want to score along the top at approximately, I'm going to say this sounds a bit silly, but a big 1/2 inch, so just a bit beyond the 1/2 inch. And you will end up with a piece like that, all scored and ready to go. Okay, so here we go. We also need a little scrap of paper, which we can cut 4 buttons from, so 4 of those. So this is miles too big, but I'm going to use it anyway. It's a little scrap from the end of something. So let's bring in our stamp, and this is the Buffalo Check stamp, and I'm going to use for this one Flirty Flamingo as my colour. I used Balmy Blue on the little pale blue one, and I used Real Red on the crumb cake for the pyjamas. So this is Flirty Flamingo, and what we're doing is we're really just tip-tapping, just like you would on an ordinary stamps set, but we're having to do it quite a lot all the way across because we want to be absolutely sure we haven't missed anywhere. So I'm going up and across and up and across. I'm not pressing hard, I'm not pushing down, I'm just tapping. Okay, and what we've done is we've brought the ink to the pad, and this is why you can actually put the pad down without having a block if you really want to. Okay, and we're now going to just use it to put down our little, ooh, I've gone all shaky on me. Right, we're going to put down our little square, and instead of bringing the stamp and pressing it down, which is quite difficult to do, we're going to use this. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a Stamparatus, this makes it even easier because you can just pop the thing down and it's really easy. But I'm assuming you probably haven't. Okay, so there we go. That's our Buffalo Check on that. Now we're going to do the same. We're going to do another whole load of tip-tapping, just to make sure it's really well covered. And we're going to do our little scrap piece. We're going to just stick that across the middle. Okay, here we go. So we now have a scrap piece, we now have the little piece for the pocket, and now we're going to do the corner of the collar. And for that, what we need to do is we're going to work from the inside of the cardigan. So on the inside, we're going to place a post-it note right across this corner, in line, ooh, try and make it in line, there we go, in line with this. So what we're doing is we're isolating this little corner because we want this corner to be coloured, but we don't want all of the inside to be coloured. So this time I'm going to tip-tap, but I'm only going to tip-tap across one corner. We don't need all this extra bit, so let's not waste ink. Okay, oops. And I'm now going to press this, being careful to be on that corner, but not anywhere over the rest of the inside of the card. So I'm going to press and press and press. And there we go. We take that off, and we've now got a gingham corner, which will become, when I turn it over, will become the gingham collar. So let's just give that a stick down. So we need a little bit of glue. Let's clear the nozzle of the glue. A little bit of glue on, oh goodness me. And back to my usual, my problem is, and I say this every time I film, is that because I'm filming quite a few videos often at the same time, and I'm working on getting the designs nice, I tend to leave the glue top off, which is very naughty of me, and then it goes sealed over. So there we go, a little bit of glue, and we're just going to stick that down. I'm going to hold that for a couple of seconds just to make it make sure it's stuck. Now I don't want it stuck absolutely solid everywhere, so I've left quite a few bits that were kind of on the edge, so that it kind of looks like a collar in that it's not absolutely flat. Okay, so it's up to you. You might want to stick a little bit more or a bit less, it's up to you, but I quite like it when it's a tiny bit loose. Okay, now then the little square that we had at the beginning, we're going to fold over the top piece, and we're going to fold back those two to make our little pocket. But before we do that, we're just going to keep our eyeballs on this, having folded it, and I'm now going to unfold it, which seems mad, but it means I know that's the right way up, because it's very easy to get this the wrong way up. So I'm going to show you again. We're going to fold it down, then we're going to remember this is the right way up if we wanted some writing on here, and I'm going to keep that in mind, and I'm going to flip the rest up. Okay, and I've got a lovely little message to go on this little collar, and it says, here we go. It says a time to celebrate, because in my little head I have the idea, I'm just going to, whilst I'm talking, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the backs of each of these and stick them down, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue underneath this flap. And the reason I like that sentiment is because in my head I know that there are going to be quite a number of primary school children who've been at home for a long time with the virus, doing their homeschooling, and they will have a lovely time when they go back to school and meet up with all their friends again. And so I thought the idea of my card was that it would be a really nice one to be a time to celebrate. Oops, let's hold on whilst we're talking, let's hold it on. It would be a nice little card to say a time to celebrate, so it's the kind of going back to school card, I suppose, in my head. So that's going to be the little pocket, so we'll pop that in place. Okay, and the positioning of this is really a by eye and how you feel it would look right, so I think it's going to look right just there. And do you remember we also have this extra strip of spare? So I'm now going to cut some, and in fact I'm going to go, because you can position this however you like, so I'm going to position it so that I get like across that little space, so I get quarters. And I'm going to do another one in quarters, and I'm going to do another one in quarters. So I've got 3 little buttons, and they all look the same because I've cut them in at the same, I've clipped them at the same point. Okay, and I'm going to stick those down. Now, and I'm going to put the little red part facing inwards. So when you do these, you need to just think, how's it going to look neatest and nicest? So I'm going to have the little red part pointing in the same direction, so it'll be neat and pretty. Now, depending on how you're going to do your buttons, before you stick them down, you may like I did on these buttons, you may want to just stitch through with a needle a little piece of linen thread. And that looks absolutely lovely. It makes them look more authentically like a button. But on this one, I've decided that I'm just going to make it a little bit more girly and stick a little, oh, if I could get the top off, ooh, one of these lovely little sequins. So I'm going to put a little sequin in the centre. So I'm going to just put a little dab of glue in the centre of each one. Whee! And I'm going to find one of these lovely purpley, pinky, can't pick one up. There we go. I'm going to put one in the centre of each, just because I think it's a bit snazzier and a bit more glitzy. And sometimes little girls rather like a little bit of glitz, don't they, and glamour in their lives. So here we go, let's find another little one. There we go. So we've got a little glitzy sequin inside each of the buttons. And then I'm going to just put another little one on the corner of her lapel, just because I can and because it would be nice. I'm just trying to find one of the slightly bigger ones. There we go. Oh, it's a small one, never mind. There we go. A little one on the corner. And I hope you like that. Thank you very much. There's the pink one. There's the blue one. And thanks very much to Lynney for her inspiration. Thank you. Bye-bye.